Charlee Atkins, and these are a few wrist exercises to improve the function of your wrists. Today we're gonna cover the function of the wrist, how to mobilize your wrist, how to strengthen your wrist, and some common modifications that you can use in your daily exercises. So for starters, let's talk about the movements of the wrist. More importantly, we have flexion and extension. So if I reach my hand out to my side, palm is up, flexion is going to be bringing the fingertips in towards the forearm, extension is gonna be bringing the fingertips down towards the ground. So those are our two main functions. However, the wrist also abducts away from the body, and it also adducts in towards the body. So we have those four basic movements that the wrists make. So let's talk about some real life examples of how we use our wrist. If you think about it, when we're in a push-up plank position, we gotta have strong wrist, or if you're doing something like tennis, you really wanna make sure that you have that snap, right? The first key part of making sure that our wrists are healthy is all about mobilizing them. And I have quite the little trick for you to do anytime, anywhere. All you need is a cell phone. So this is something that you can do at your desk. It is a controlled articular rotation, also known as a CAR. Now all you're gonna do is you're gonna place the cell phone on your forearm, and we're gonna take our wrist through that movement that we just talked about. So flexion, extension, adduction, abduction, but you're gonna take it through the full rotation. So what I'm trying to do is keep my forearm or my wrist nice and stable while I take my hand through a circle. Now, I don't know if you can tell, but it does require a little bit of strength and mobilization. Make sure that you go in both directions. Now, if you want a little bit of a prescription, you could do this 5 times in both directions, multiple times a day. If you do it on the right arm, you of course need to do it on the left arm. Next thing that we'll talk about are some stretches that you can do after you do your CARs. So coming down here onto the mat, all I'm gonna do is I'm going to stretch my wrist in the flexed and the extensed way. So here, fingertips are pointed out, shoulders are right over my wrist. All I'm gonna do is slowly take my weight forward until I feel a nice stretch all throughout the back of my forearm over here. Now, if you're going to oscillate, meaning moving forward and backward, make sure that you do it nice and slow. We are talking about the wrist, so you don't want to do any sudden movements, and you're just kind of easing into it, backing out of it, and going back into it again. If you want a prescription, I'd say do about 10 oscillations in both directions. So then all we're gonna do is we're gonna flip our hands over. Now this side's probably gonna be a little bit more sensitive, so make sure that you move into this slowly. The back of my hands are gonna go down onto the mat. Now all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna slowly, keeping a nice straight arm, I'm just gonna pull my weight back. So I already feel a nice stretch all throughout the top part of my arm right here. Again, just easing into it. So you're not trying to move super fast, taking these nice and slow. And once you do about 10 reps over here, what we can do is we can start to move into our strengthening exercises. So, all you're gonna need is a 5-pound dumbbell. You can do something smaller than that if it's better for you, 2 or 3 pounds. You can even do this sans the weight. But all we're gonna do is the flexion and the extension with a little bit of added weight. So I'm going to open up here, so my wrist is coming down, and then it's almost like I'm doing a bicep curl, but it's for the wrist. So I'm gripping onto the weight and I'm just curling in. Palm is up. Now you could do these for, you could do them for 10 reps, and then we're gonna flip the hand over and we're gonna do the exact same thing. So the weight's gonna come down. Now all I'm doing is I'm pulling up and I'm lowering right back down. Make sure you do these nice and slow. Pulling up and lowering right back down. Next, we'll talk about some classic exercise moves that I always see people complaining about having a weak wrist. Here are some tips and tricks that you can do. We're gonna talk about planks and we're gonna talk about mountain climbers. So it's basically the same position, right? So in my push-up plank position, what I have is I'm right here, my shoulders are right over my wrist, and if you notice, you see this angle right here. If you have weak wrists, this is gonna start to, create some sort of right? So what you can do, number one, is you can add the dumbbell in, and if you're gripping onto something, first of all, you're creating a little bit of elevation, and if you notice, this angle on my wrist isn't quite as extreme as it is if I have it down here. So one thing that you could do is you can always add in a dumbbell. Now that's gonna be for a plank or a mountain climber. Another modification that you can do is you can actually roll the top of your mat. So say that you're in a yoga class or you're in a boot camp, real quick adjustment that you can make. So I'm gonna roll the mat, and again, I'm just gonna place the heels of my hands on top of the mat. And as you can see, it's less pressure right there on the wrist. So I have my push-up plank position, or I have my mountain climbers. And finally, if you don't have dumbbells and you don't have a mat, what you can do is you can always put your hands into fists. So again, keeping that nice, flat, happy line right here, as opposed to that right angle. So just using fist, again, bringing the knees into the chest. Here's my mountain climber or my plank position. And quick note on the fist, you wanna make sure that the thumbs are tucked in over the knuckles so you don't have any loose thumbs, right? Like you're doing a boxing class. So to recap, whatever workout you're doing, whether it's a yoga class, a boot camp, you can use any one of these modifications to help alleviate any sort of stress that you feel on the wrist. If you continue doing these strengthening and mobilizing exercises, then as you continue on in your workout classes, you can find that you'll be able to do most of these workouts without any sort of modifications, because you're actually strengthening the wrist to make them feel better. I'm Charlee Atkins. For more fitness tips, make sure that you subscribe to Well+Good.